You are listening to the 4Directions podcast. Any inappropriate content has been censored for your listening pleasure. Please enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Caleb.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Josh.
I was supposed to go first. Buddy.
Alright,
This is gonna be a
Fun time.
we're talking about Venom. Alright?
Venom.
We just saw it.
What did you think?
Who's starting here? Because I'll start.
Okay, yeah, you.
I'll start.
I hate you guys.
Go on.
I went into it thinking it was going to be one of the worst movies this year, one of the worst movies I've seen in one of the worst superhero, I guess you could say, movies. And I left kind of happy. It was fun. I liked it.
It was fun.
It was much better than I thought it would be. I was expecting this
trashy
movie, and it was a lot of fun. There were problems, obvious. It was almost like a, not quite Solo, but almost like that type of, or Justice League, I guess would be better.
Yeah, that's what I equate
Justice
it to.
League, yeah, like
it's
you
a
said.
Justice League.
Yeah.
It's fun, but it's got problems.
It's
and
got problems,
bad
I think.
CGI.
Yeah, really bad, but it's just overall, I want another one.
All right, I think that it was really bad, but it had some enjoyable parts in it. I think that the acting was terrible.
It is.
It got better as it went on, but I just think that the beginning part of the movie was so boring it made me want to kill myself.
Well,
The part as soon as you got the symbiote, that part from that moment on, it started getting better. But it just really took a while to get going, and then the ending was not fulfilling at all. It was just too easy.
You didn't like him saving Mrs. Chen?
Okay. Riot was way too easy to beat. It was like a 5-second fight that they had. The whole movie built up to it, and then it was like a 5-second fight.
I was fine with that.
I was like, oh shoot, how's he gonna beat him? And I was like, oh
Venom is supposed to be more powerful, and Carnage is gonna be again relating it to Justice League. I was fine with how easily they defeated Steppenwolf because who gives a crap about Steppenwolf?
Yeah,
it's Darkseid, who we know is the true villain, just like we know Carnage is gonna be the true villain of the Venom saga.
The Venom trilogy.
Still, I think
that movie should be rated R. The next one.
The Carnage.
This one felt like it should have been. It felt restricted almost.
Right.
Because there were some scenes that could have been that were cool, but could have been like really cool.
Yeah.
Like especially without giving a whole lot away.
We're gonna give stuff away.
Yeah. All right. that smoke scene, like where it would just like.
Oh yeah. It was like a true horror film.
Super horror.
But then
rated R would have been.
You know what I mean? It felt like this is like what a Venom should be, a horror film. But then it just kind of went. Oh, we're not showing anything.
Yeah, and it was like...
I'm sorry, Nick. Were you done with your initial...
Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's cool, guys. I don't need to talk.
Good, because I haven't gotten to talk yet. So I
wasn't finished. Shoot, what was I gonna say? Nope, that's it. Caleb, you got
I went in with low expectations, much like everyone. We all, I think, watched this movie, made fun of the trailers.
Yeah.
And then we went in the movie and we were like, no, Tom Hardy is really funny in this role. But it kind of works in a weird way because, build-wise, he's Eddie Brock, right?
Yeah.
I'd say mannerism, in terms of his walk, he's Eddie Brock. You know, he's the reporter. He's the kind of...
Which I didn't buy at first, but then as it went on...
Yeah, that weird show?
Yeah, the weird... So was that a...
Hey, it's Eddie Brock show. I'm a hard-hitting reporter. But I expose people.
I don't know, but... As it went on, I kind of started buying it a little bit. Like when he was pressing the one guy, I was like, all right.
I agree with. If he's a journalist, he knows what questions he's gonna ask.
Yeah, he was studying his stuff too. That bothered me.
Especially if you're recording it on video.
Yeah,
why doesn't he have a prompter? I don't know. Anyways, I initially went in the beginning was like, this is a mess. This is fun. What's funny is that. The whole, I thought, point of this was to stretch out the Venom, which I'm glad they didn't stretch it out. Yeah, but I love that in 5 minutes, he's fired, he's broken up with
his fiance,
who then gets a doctor boyfriend
within,
and then
no time.
He's just like, oh, my life is horrible. What am I gonna do?
That felt very, very, very rushed.
Oh, very rushed. Where it felt like if that was. In a Spider-Man movie, you would have felt like, okay, he's the villain. This is just what's happening. Yeah. But because it was his movie, and it just like
all just happen.
All it takes is one bad day to become a Venom. I don't know, but once, like you said, once he got the symbiote,
Once it started going,
I really enjoyed the symbiote. I
liked how Venom was his like own character almost.
Yeah,
like
Venom. I like Venom. I like Venom a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to. Some things he said, some of his lines, I was like, But
he was really cheesy.
Yeah,
but it kind of worked
in a way.
Yeah.
This was. I will say one more thing, then you guys can talk about it. I feel like I'm talking about, but the rated R thing too. So it's not rated R, obviously, and I feel like initially that would have worked for Venom, but the tone of this movie, if you think about it, is actually more consistent with what else is in most of the MCU is. Yeah. So it made it feel like it could fit in the MCU, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of those scenes that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but where something serious is about to happen, and then they just cut it with a joke. That happens a lot in this movie, and it makes it feel like this movie could fit into the MCU.
I wouldn't mind seeing this Venom in the MCU.
That was my big takeaway. Was I want to see
the big
Tom Holland Spider-Man take him on.
I don't know. The spider on the chest, though.
I was thinking.
See, that's what I'm interested in, is how they can rework it now.
Because they might be able to have it like attached,
screwed it up.
Back or something. I don't know.
I mean, it went all willy-nilly off of him. Anyway, what were you saying, Nick?
I don't know. As I was watching it, I saw like Venom's really fast and really strong and like almost unbeatable. It was crazy. And I thought it'd be really cool to see Spider-Man face someone who's that fast and powerful. Vulture was more of like an aerial villain.
Right.
Didn't really move around that fast.
Yeah.
I would like to see him face someone on ground level who's like really fast and really strong and who could beat him up and like
who's almost like his
yeah, I mean
almost like
the
version
opposite of him. Yeah.
I mean, he's like bigger and stronger, which would it'd be a lot of fun to see, but at the same time it'd be weird. It would feel weird to see those two paths. I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see what they would do.
Right.
Yeah.
But
his motivation to be like
going
Spider-Man.
Off of that, like with the whole action, the first action scene with him was really good.
It was really good.
And that would be really cool to see in like a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like really cool.
Yeah. Again, the CGI, not great.
Not great,
but like what was happening was cool enough that you didn't care to where you're like, hey, if they let Marvel, do it, they could make him look better. I've always been a fan of, if you have something in a superhero movie, don't just give up on it right away and jump ship. I like to see it improve. Like, I was one of the few people who, when I saw Green Lantern, people were like, oh, Green Lantern's crap, it's horrible. But I saw it and I was like, no, there's something interesting here. Ryan Reynolds did a good job. I want to see him fight Sinestro, because Mark Strong did a good job as Sinestro. Let's continue this. That's what I love about the X-Men franchise. It's been going since 1999.
There's been some bad movies.
There's been some bad movies, but they came back with Days of Future Past and they kept going.
Yeah.
I want to see them, okay, we introduced Venom. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. Tom Hardy is good in the role, while laughable.
Strangely, he's good.
Yeah, he somehow works.
Yeah.
But, okay, now take it to the next level. Like, you have sort of written yourself in a corner here with he's not connected to Spider-Man, but see that as a challenge. How do we now connect him to Spider-Man, how do we make that work? That's what I want to see. I don't want them to just give up and then reboot him again, because that's too much.
No, yeah, I would like to see this version continue.
And that's what I thought too. Going away from this, I was like, oh yeah, this movie was okay, but I want to see more. Like, I was kind of surprised that when I thought that.
It felt really short. Yeah, it felt really short, but it has a lot of potential. There's things that they can do to make it really cool. But do you think that Kevin Feige would accept this Venom in his MCU? Do you think there's any possibility of them integrating him?
At the beginning of the credit, it says in association with Marvel.
I'm pretty sure it says Marvel, and then it pans out and it goes.
That's what it did.
In association with Marvel.
And then in the intro, it shows again in association with Marvel.
Right.
Lest we forget that Marvel doesn't.
That Venom is a Marvel character.
I was very surprised though, because I was like, oh shoot, Venom or like Marvel, it could just did that, and then it was like in association.
But what other Sony movie has done that?
Well, I think
it's usually just Marvel.
I think in association is the most, because it usually just says Marvel, right? Because we know the MCU is Marvel Studios,
and that that could either mean
this
is
trying to
this
shoehorn
part of the
there.
MCU, or it's associated with Marvel, but we're not really gonna put our hands on this one. So it could mean
it would have been
one.
It would have been funny if they had tried to slip in the Marvel Studios like minute-long MCU intro, and they're just like,
great.
huh?
Wait a second,
and then
what?
Venom shows up.
I think that the ratings this movie is getting is going to be the biggest hindrance of getting him into the MCU.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but it's making a lot of money. 10 million, I think, at the opening.
Did it really?
It's making. I think it broke some records. I didn't read, but
well, Venom is one of like the most popular villains,
Spider-Man,
especially in Marvel. He's like a fan favorite.
Yeah, that's where I think it really lies, right? Like, if something's badly reviewed enough, but it makes enough money,
can you? Because I mean, Marvel has done that. I mean, they can take a badly reviewed thing and turn it into something like much better. I mean, they could acquire this character, or, like, work with. I mean, like Spider-Man with the Amazing Spider-Man, they were awful. I mean, they rebooted that, but they took him and made him better. Maybe they can take this Venom and keep him, but make him work better. In a movie.
Retool him.
Yeah.
Focus him. Find out what worked. Because that was what we said. Like, some stuff worked, some stuff didn't.
Yeah.
What I'm curious...
The age would be a weird thing, too, Tom Holland.
Oh, yeah, that would be...
I honestly...
Both Toms, though.
I don't care.
Tom.
I'm used to it. I'm ready how it works. What were you saying?
I'd like it.
I was saying, what I'm curious is... Okay, so he faces symbiote in this one. Faces a symbiote in the next one.
Yeah. That's why he needs
For the third one, he's gonna find another symbiote and
I
face
want to
him.
make...
Third one's
He doesn't have any real villains.
I want to make
He's
myself
just his own character.
perfectly clear. I do not want to see another Venom movie. I do not want to see Venom 2, Return of the Venom, or Venom 3, oh boy, look who's Venom now. Mm-hmm. I want to see this character in a Spider-Man movie now.
Right.
I want that Woody Harrelson tease to be the next movie. Obviously not Far From Home, but the next movie. Now that Spider-Man has graduated high school, we use Venom as the way to kind of introduce the adult version of Spider-Man to say there are some dark. Oh, obviously, I mean he died, so there's obviously he's been introduced to some dark things. But in terms of his own story, there's some darkness in the world, and you use Venom as that sort of. I'm thinking he sees Venom. He thinks Venom is the antagonist because Venom is sort of
above and beyond.
Yeah, he's sort of like the Punisher version of Spider-Man. Yeah. So, and I'm comics at this point. I feel like you can't really. They've done what they've done. I just rather them try and keep it going. So, like, he fights Venom. He thinks Venom's the bad guy. Oh no, Carnage shows up. This guy who's actually literally a serial killer starts killing people. Then he has to team up with Venom.
Team up would be really
sort
cool.
of like when he teams up with Harry at the end of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And then they have to fight Carnage.
And
then after he defeats Carnage, it's like, okay, now where do we go from here?
That's the best route that they can go down.
Yeah.
Because you have heroes fighting already, like, Iron Man and Hulk.
Right.
They fight over some random reason.
Right.
You can have those two fights, so Spider-Man and Venom, you can easily find a reason.
And they've already portrayed...
Like you said, the Punisher type character.
They've already shown Venom as, like, the good guy, Yeah. Maybe he doesn't, like, abide by the same... anti-hero. So making him the villain in a Spider-Man movie wouldn't really work at this point. It wouldn't work. Because
you could definitely
make a segment.
You could definitely have them go head to head.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
It mean more because
teaming up
we both know
in the end would work better than having him be just like the main villain of the movie. Like
right, because that's
having be like the first villain.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, and then introduce like, oh hey, we've got some Carnage to deal with.
That's my point.
Oh, there's Carnage.
I'd rather have them try to make something good out of what we have than to just throw it away and say, here's, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Some random actor playing Venom again, and it's just like, oh, we don't want to go through this again.
You get the same
I do want to see him Spider-Man get the suit, and you could maybe tie that in. Oh, now Venom gets the spider symbol, and he gets some new power. I don't know, because, I mean, they didn't...
There's ways to make it work.
Right.
I mean... There were a few scenes where, I was like, he kind of almost had the web
Yeah, he
slinging
uses
type.
the symbiote to grab onto things. He has the super strength.
He like runs up walls instead of climbing. So I mean, you could make work without it, but if you want to get that like cool, like the spider scent, like the whatever, and give him a spider
sense. Yeah, he would get a spider sense.
Yeah, and everybody loves the black suited Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to see it on Tom Holland? That'd be dope.
Again, it's different from the comics, but you could make him the symbiote come off of Eddie, go on to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man use it, think this is too dark, but then because the symbiote has Eddie stuff, Peter understands Eddie because the symbiote is able to tell him about Eddie, and then when the symbiote goes back to Eddie, then Eddie understands Peter, and then they unite. Again, different from the comics where the symbiote used the knowledge of Peter to tell Eddie, hey, this is how we kill Peter, and here's all his powers, by the way.
But at this point, you kind of would have to get away from the comics. And people would understand at this point, I would hope.
And we already, I mean, I'd be fine with something different because we already did the kind of traditional Venom plot for a little bit in
Spider-Man 3. A little bit.
It's just, I don't know. The main issue I think I had with the movie, everything else aside, because there's stuff that was fun to laugh at that didn't necessarily make me upset.
Yeah.
Is that, going back to what I said about the tone of the movie, Venom to me is supposed to be a threatening and dark, scary character. And if that's what we want him to be for Spider-Man, I feel like we made it so jokey in this one that they kind of took away what made that character dark and special.
I feel like he's threatening but not scary.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm going to eat these people, but also here's a fart joke.
Yes, exactly. You know, he like Venom's just like, you're a loser or whatever. Now, okay, you could easily fix that by contrasting and making Carnage completely psycho and dark.
Yeah, exactly. Which, if they do the character right, then he will be.
Right.
I'm hoping.
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald is Carnage.
He had that kind of hair.
I know, but I just kind of was like...
It looks weird on Woody Harrelson.
Listen, the hair... What was our favorite line that Woody Harrelson says in The Cell? Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of spoilers in this thing.
When I get out, and I'm gonna get out, there's gonna be carnage.
There's going to be
a symbiote named Carnage is going to be out.
Sony was basically like, did you know this guy
is Carnage?
He's Carnage.
Hi, my name's Cletus Cassidy, and I'm Carnage, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
I hate when movies do that so much.
I don't get that trend because it seems like nowadays
She asked me to do a simple favor.
Right. But it's fine. I feel like in regular...
But some movies it works. Rogue One it works.
But in comic... Well, it's not about saying the title, right? It's about...
How you do it.
How you do... But like, I feel like comic book movies right now want to be grounded and taken serious. Well... To some degree, but then they, everything is funny. But they take that thing and they go, "Hey guys, do you get it?" It's like
they try to be meta, but
it's not. It's not clever.
Like in this movie, when he was like, "We are Venom," I was like, "Oh great, they're trying to insert the movie title into the movie again." That's frustrating.
Jeez. You were like, geez, don't even say his name.
And they rammed it in his throat, too. They said it like 20 times at least.
Can I you just reminded me of the ending. So he's going on the rocket, right, to defeat Carlton.
Yeah.
Bodhi Rook from Rogue One. And he takes...
Golly gee willikers. That's who he was.
You didn't realize?
I didn't know that. Are you serious?
Come on, bro.
I didn't either.
Seen this guy.
No, I did not know that. That's awesome.
Our hero, Bodhi Rook from
Rebels, him so much more now.
Rogue One is now Carlton Drake.
Rogue?
The whole time I was like, this character
you recognize him. He's
a 2000 villain.
Right?
But now I love him.
Oh, yeah. I like him. He's a good actor. But it just... He was so... I'm a god. Anyway,
the 2000 argument is very
it's very applicable. Yeah. It feels like a Daredevil or an Elektra.
Yeah,
which is almost nostalgic. But
I like Daredevil, guilty pleasure movie. But my point is, I love that he jumps on the rocket And the way he stops the rocket is by going down to the jets and cutting them.
Yeah.
And there's a limited time because if he gets away, he gets the symbiotes, grabs his million symbiote, and it conquers the Earth. But Venom specifically jumps up to the window just so he can look Carlton Drake in the eye and repeat a line he said to him earlier in the movie. Have a nice life. And then he goes, he's like, now I'm going to go do the thing that actually hurts you. And he goes down and cuts it.
Before he does that, I thought it was really funny. He says, have a nice life. Yeah. This ought to be a riot. And then he just does it.
Did he really
say
he didn't.
That?
Oh, no, he says that. Remember?
No, he doesn't.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Wait, did he really? I can't tell if this is a joke that actually happened.
He goes, this is a riot. Venom, yum.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought that was weird, too, because that was an obvious placement
some
of...
carnage on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
he's like, Cletus Cassidy gets in a automobile at the end of the movie, and he's like, man, this is sure a old one. What's the car age?
Yeah, I know.
Venom was like, whoa, look out. There's a spider, man.
Then Tom Holland showed up, and he's like, oh, man, Simba, yacht. It's just weird.
And he was on a, very rich boat. When
he saw a lion.
And he was playing the Sims.
It was just weird.
Stark boats.
They're just trying too hard in these movies.
Thing is, Carnage and Venom are too good of villains to
two of the best Marvel villains, in my opinion.
Yes, regulate to this solo universe.
You can do so much
Bring
with
in
them.
Kevin Feige and just say, okay, what worked, what didn't. Okay, but I want to see Peter Parker. I don't care about the age. I don't care that it's different. I want to see Spider-Man fight Venom.
Sony owns part of Spider-Man, so they should be able to... If Sony wants it, you would think they could make it happen,
Well, that's what I don't understand fully about the contract, is why they're allowed to make their own movies, and Marvel can say they're not connected. But why isn't Sony allowed to say, hey, Tom, get in the suit?
Because if Tom is in that movie, then it's connected. The moment Spider-Man steps foot into one of those movies, it's connected.
Right.
Because Spider-Man is already interacting with Iron Man.
They introduce a new Spider-Man if they wanted him?
Couldn't Marvel still say, hey, it's not connected, but they still haven't... I don't know, it's just...
It's Andrew Garfield waiting by his phone right now, like, alright.
Right.
Starring a Venom movie.
I'm in the... It would be funny, because it was intended to be part of that Garfield universe.
This movie was better than anything about the Garfield franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
Anything about that.
Oh, Gwen Stacy was great.
She was good.
She was.
Gosh, this movie felt short.
It did. It felt really short.
Was it short, or was it just
because
flew by because of what, how the movie was?
The beginning dragged. Once he got the symbiote, it flew by. It just flew by because we were watching him grow and learn all these things as himself.
I feel like he didn't learn anything. It was just sort of like...
It was kind of Venom.
I'm done. I'm Venom.
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
I love how in the end, Venom's like, goodbye, Eddie, and then he dies.
Right, and then they don't explain how he's back. Yeah.
They never explain anything.
It would have been better if he'd just gotten out of the explosion.
You would have thought.
I don't know. We said something else.
Oh, I was just thinking, it reminded me, midway through the movie, Tom Hardy's laying on the ground, Eddie Brock, if you will, and he gets lifted up and then just punches the guy. That made me think of a short clip from a trailer of a movie called STEM that I never saw. But just thinking about the relationship between STEM and Venom, I don't know if you're familiar.
Venom.
Yeah, Stenim. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie STEM, but it's where it's a Blumhouse film, and it's like some kind of computer chip gets implanted, an AI chip gets implanted in the neck of.
I saw that movie.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, this summer. Yeah,
and it controls the guy from and it gives him fighting abilities, and that's what that reminds me.
That's a good similarity because in that movie the chip talks to him. No one else can hear it, but he can. Yeah, it's kind of that's true. That's a good comparison.
Wait,
I didn't even think about that.
That sounds like that other movie. What's that movie?
And
about?
it fights for him, and he doesn't do anything.
What's that movie?
It's a lot like this movie.
On.
That's actually
what's that movie with the robot?
The guy looks like Tom Hardy. Actually, it might even be Tom Hardy.
Actually, his full name's Thomas Hardis.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Wait.
I knew I saw this movie somewhere.
What was that movie that? That movie that came out this year that like is this? I don't think it's this.
I'm pretty
movie.
sure it's the movie.
No, but it's like a guy who's good at fighting and he gets a thing. It might be. Is it called STEM? Are you sure?
It's called STEM. I'm pretty sure.
Thinking
This
of a different
one-
movie that you and Michael and BJ saw. Maybe.
Me and BJ saw it, but Michael wanted to see it, but we saw it without
What was
him.
this movie that like it did better than Solo, and then they posted a GIF of like him punching the Solo
STEM.
guys?
That was STEM.
It was called STEM.
That's what I mean. I guess.
Are you
Nick's
sure it's
saying
called
is-
STEM?
I'm pretty sure
I
it's
don't
called
think
STEM.
it's
What it was
called
called.
STEM, and this is bothering me.
Hold on, look it
I
up.
need to know
I'll
what
look it up.
the title of this movie.
It was
is.
it was a good movie, and it was actually very similar to Venom.
Right.
And Nick's saying that
Can I just say I don't know what it is, but I love having
someone else fighting.
like I don't want to say benevolent, but like a guy who I like that idea of a person that protects you, who's like with you.
Yeah.
It's funny because while I was watching the fight scenes, I was thinking the same exact thing. I love the scenes, and I thought it was just like just me, where like you have something else fighting for him, but
Yeah.
he's doing all the fighting.
Right.
It's funny
but
because
also
like he's not in control, but he's
Yeah.
doing all this
Both
really
of
cool
you,
stuff. It's like
yeah.
a comedic. I don't know.
Well, it's like
it's called
the-
Upgrade. It's called Upgrade.
Thank you,
Upgrade?
because I
Okay.
knew that's not what the movie was called, and I knew that's what I was talking about.
87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Upgrade,
Fun fact.
yes,
It was a fun
exactly.
movie.
It looked like
Right,
a
it
really
looks
good
good.
movie.
and that
Why
one
did
was
you think it was called STEM?
I don't know.
you were close.
Dr. STEM and Strange.
But that is actually a similar movie to this, except that was
Right.
way more graphic. 'Cause
Was
that's
it
rated
better?
R. Coming out of that, there were things I liked about it, but it wasn't like
It's
amazing.
hard to relate, I'm sure, because
I might have
it's
liked
the
this one better
nostalgic
because this
factor
was
of
Venom.
Yeah.
Whereas that was some random guy.
Even though,
But that one had like a better
Tom
story.
Hardy?
I don't think.
I don't think it was,
wasn't. I
No,
think
some
but
random
it
guy.
looked like Tom Hardy.
it was like discount Tom Hardy.
It was some guy named Logan Marshall Green.
Oh, Tom
Right.
Hardy, yeah.
Yeah.
That's his pseudonym.
He
It's
He
like
has
the
a-
Samuel Clemens of Mark Twain.
Dang, what a reference! I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Can I just say though, I feel like if I watched this movie again, I would hate it and realize how bad it actually is.
I can
Maybe?
see that.
But
Or you might like it even more because you just accept it for
Yeah,
what
I
it is and
think
you're watching
I
it.
did have like
It
the
could go either
beginning.
way,
it was
honestly.
just laughed at. I was laughing.
Yeah, it was
at
bad.
But then as soon as he got that symbiote, I was
So I was
like,
like, okay.
I can't lie. I kind of like this. This is kind of cool.
I
And the
like
whole
the way
Venom talking to him, I just didn't
Yeah,
think I would like that. But I
Yeah,
did.
but
Yeah.
Venom was actually good.
I like the way he moved too as Venom.
Yeah,
Like it was
Yeah.
it
it
was
was different.
animal, but also like
yeah.
human.
Yeah, I like
It was-
the eating thing too. I thought that was a nice touch.
Even like that. I didn't think they were actually going to do this because it was PG-13. I was like, oh, they're probably going to cut out all head eating. So it was nice that he did it. You didn't really see
Right.
much. I liked it. He's eating people still. It's really cool.
Right. Okay, this is correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, because you are a bigger comic book fan. You've read more comic books than I have. I will admit that. But I didn't like the aspect. It not as big for me as the movie not feeling dark enough. But I didn't like the aspect of the film that it seemed like every time somebody got a symbiote, it absorbed into them and was part of them, as opposed to because I thought, to me, the whole point of We Are Venom is that he's outside of him and he can use them as his clothes, but he's like their mutual. It's a mutual relationship, and they fight together. Well, they fight together, and then the point of the Carnage thing, because Carnage says, "I am Carnage," it's because he fully submitted to the symbiote and let it like go inside his bloodstream, and that's why it became red, and then he became like this complete like psychopath where him and Carnage are exactly the same, and I am Carnage. But I feel like they kind of stepped on that by having the symbiote absorb into people and then shown it in their eyes.
Yeah, see, I thought the same thing actually when
Okay,
it
good.
first absorbed into the
Yeah,
person.
normally
I was
the
like,
clothes,
that's
right?
weird.
Right?
Yeah, it
Because doesn't
usually
it
is.
feel like
It usually is like an article of
So-
clothing or
Right.
like something
Like
that
the
can
hoodie
leech
or
off
like
of you,
right?
but not absorbed into you.
So then, what are they gonna say is the different? Because that, as you know, other than him saying something, as a film, you need that physical, visible thing to
yeah,
show
I don't know if
audience.
that's a huge
Maybe-
deal. Though,
I feel
maybe-
like it's a
Carnage.
huge deal for me. Well, but
Maybe
when he
it's-
says "I am Carnage," people are gonna like that doesn't mean anything.
Maybe instead
Well,
of
they
it
could-
like being absorbed into him, it'll actually like show in his skin and stuff as like human, whereas this is just. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, maybe like
Maybe
it'll
it'll-
kind of just
like,
they
him.
could-
Just like make his
figure
like
out-
skin all red, or like the blood, like you can see like the veins. I don't
like
know.
it
Maybe
just
they'll
like
just
cuts off his skin and it kind of becomes his skin.
maybe
Yeah.
something like
That,
that.
that could be cool, but I still think they.
Yeah, I
kind-
agree.
I feel
but-
like they kind of dropped the ball on that, where it's kind of like,
yeah.
wait, you're setting up Carnage, but you didn't even take the time to get what the difference is between we are Venom and I am Carnage. Like, to me, that
Yeah.
when I found that out in the comics, that terrified me. Like about this psychopathic character who just willingly submit to the symbiote and just like, let's just kill everyone, because that's the difference or whatever. Venom
Yeah,
has
Carnage
like, a
is
moral
terrifying.
compass.
In the movie, do you think they showed Tom Hardy having control over Venom at all, or do you think that Venom was in control?
I think in the end, he had some
in the
control.
fight.
No, I think in the
Or-
end,
I
in the
think.
restaurant, whatever, I think he had some
I
control.
think in
Yeah.
the restaurant,
I don't-
I think the moment when when Riot was about to kill Venom, and he chose to go back to it, I think that's when he took control.
That makes sense.
Because I think
Because
up
Venom
until
probably
that
would
point,
surrender some control
Venom
at that
was,
point.
Yeah. Because I don't see.
because he I think admitted
What's
that he needed
what's
Venom.
Bodie Rourke's name in the movie?
Carlton Drake.
Yes, Drake. I don't
Very
remember.
comic book Drake.
I don't remember seeing Drake in control at all of Riot at any point, because Riot was
Well,
just.
and that's another thing. It felt like Drake submitted to
Yeah,
Riot,
he
and
was-
that again
he-
makes it
It was
feel
more
like
of it. Riot's
I am
bitch.
Riot almost
Yeah.
type of deal.
right.
It wasn't more of him submitting to Riot. It was more of Riot overpowering him.
Right.
Is what I got. I could be wrong, but that's
Which
what that's what I
kind of
pictured.
like is weird to me, because if you think about how Carlton Drake was, very like, I'm superior, I'm a god, I want to save the world,
But
and then
his
Riot
pride,
just controls him, and it's just like, wait, so his character doesn't actually matter. It's just he's
his,
just a vessel.
his
Yeah.
pride was all in his head. It was
Right.
I could be wrong, but that's what I pictured, and that
I could see
could be a
that.
contrast with Cletus Cassidy as Carnage, him submitting fully to it, being like, "All right, let's do this."
Let's just kill everyone.
Yeah. Instead of like, "Oh, I'm gonna save people," and then Riot's like, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
We're doing what I want, not what you want."
Right.
But-
Even though their interests did kind of align,
Right.
But when Carlton Drake got the symbiote off of him, he still fought
he still fought Eddie.
That's
Eddie.
true,
I don't know, what that means.
They did have similar objectives, though.
Yes.
Drake
so he
wanted to
could
go,
have seen the
and
symbiote
Riot
coming
wanted to- Yeah.
as saving
Mhm.
quote unquote the world. I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I just
I don't know if it's like
It's one of those
a huge
Venom
deal,
things.
but
They
yeah.
probably didn't even think about it themselves.
Well, again, the movie felt so
Writing.
short. There didn't feel like there was any time. It was just like, and then he defeated him. It's like, geez, Louise, that was short.
Yeah.
But the credits feel like they 12 hours long.
The credits were so long. There's 2 post-credit scenes, BT dubs, so.
Stick
already
around.
spoiled one of
We
them.
spoiled the Venom, but
The second one was kind of weird.
it doesn't relate to the movie at all.
I can see why they did it.
It's kind of
obviously,
like
but
it's kind of like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
the X-Men Days of Future Past preview. Well, we
Yeah.
can say what
I
it is
forgot
since we
about
already
that.
spoiled everything. It's a
It's-
trailer for Into the Spider-Verse.
Which the animation, I didn't realize. I saw the first trailer. It was on my phone. Seeing it in the movie, that animation is jank. It's
I don't
weird.
like it.
Yeah, it is
I
weird.
don't-
I
It
think
looks
I
like
could-
it's trying to be a like comic.
Yeah,
It's trying to be a
definitely.
comic, and it's also trying to look stop motion. I feel
See,
like
if I watch the movie, I could get used to it in the middle of the movie. That
Right.
doesn't make it not weird. though.
that's the thing. I
It's like
feel like
Super Mario type
Right.
like animation.
I feel
Weird.
like the movie has to. If the movie's good enough, like content-wise and story-wise, the animation won't matter.
And I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
feeling that it's gonna be a good movie.
It looks fun.
It looks like
Looks
a lot
like
of
it can
fun.
be.
I can't wait to hear Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh,
about
I
that.
totally forgot about that. I love Nick Cage.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
he's
gosh.
gonna be great.
He's gonna make the
Superhero
movie.
since Superman. You're right.
He's
Nick.
gonna make the movie.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
We get a Nick Cage Spider-Man.
Fun
Like
fact:
Spider-Man Noir. That's a good Spider-Man.
Nick Cage wants to play Lex Luthor.
I saw that.
He said he said
he's
he'd
got
make
a
a
good-
good Lex Luthor.
He could have a good bald head. I think he's already better than
Let
this
Nick
guy,
Cage
so
do
for-
whatever
Oh,
he wants
yeah.
at this point.
I'm gonna steal the kryptonite. Okay, they said kryptonite. That
They
was
did.
Weird,
That
but
was
they
really
did-
weird. It was
That
like,
was weird.
was it like paying, like, how much?
So, Because I remember in
Respects
the
to
original Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, Aunt May says, "You're not Superman," you know? Like, haha,
She did say that,
Spider-Man.
yeah. She did say that.
But I feel like it works in that because that's a self-contained universe. But I guess it's just the me hopeful in me saying, no, I want this to be connected to the MCU that thinks it's weird that they would reference Kryptonite. Or maybe if they're just saying Superman is so... I mean, Superman is so common of a character.
It might just be like, that's the
it's
reference that like everyone uses.
Yeah, but then
Superman
she
is
went
just a
ahead.
comic book in
She
that.
said, "Oh, what? That's your kryptonite? Like something Lex Luthor would use against you, Superman, Clark Kent?" And then she just listed a bunch of DC
Yeah, and she
characters
goes
afterwards.
Brainiac, Darkseid, Mixel, Pixel, that guy Starro. And
It
all
didn't
that.
really make much sense.
And it was like, what are you? And then if you look closer, you can see she's just holding a list of Superman villain names,
Reading off.
and you're kind of like,
Doomsday.
Michelle, go back to Great Gatsby.
I love that you
Yeah.
remember all the character names. So all I remember is Eddie Brock.
Oh, I was saying the
And
actress name,
Dan,
Michelle
because
Williams,
every
but
time-
the character's name is Annie.
Oh, okay. Because
By
every
the way-
time
Well,
Tom
Annie,
Hardy...
I'm a Hawk. Annie, I'm a Venom.
That's a
Annie, I'm a
Maniac
Venom.
reference.
Yes.
Every time Tom Hardy would say Dan, it sounded like he was saying Dad.
I completely
And I was
agree.
like,
Okay.
is this a joke? And then it took me a minute, and I was
Yes,
like, oh, he's trying
it
to
did
say
sound
Dan.
like how he was like, yeah, Dad, like because he sounds like a
So
little
Dad.
kid in a adult man's body. Okay,
Basically.
so we talked about how quickly they got together afterwards, the Doctor and
Yeah, it was
Anne.
like...
It could
I'm
have been.
pretty sure there was a black screen that said 6 months later at some point in the movie.
No.
But
I don't think there
There
was.
was.
I feel like
But
there was,
there was
but
a
I can't
montage.
remember
I think
where
there
it
was-
There was a montage of him losing his apartment,
right.
moving
He
into a new
loses
one,
everything.
looking for
Oh,
jobs.
he got a new apartment?
Yeah, he got a new apartment.
So the one he got
Looking for
evicted
jobs.
out
Wait,
of?
I thought... Oh, he got evicted? I thought that was her apartment.
No, that was
in the beginning.
his.
So wait, he got evicted out of his
He got
apartment and went to a
evicted.
new one?
Yep.
Because I thought the overdue was like my...
That's-
So he moves to another one. But
That's
then-
why he has the crappy neighbor now with the
I
guitar
thought it was
music.
2 that were overdue.
That's no. He had to move. That's why he
Gosh,
has
there's
this
so much
neighbor.
Venom lore. I gotta
with
catch
the-
up
with
on. I gotta
the-
watch
guitar.
it.
What was...
And-
Go ahead.
And it showed him applying for jobs, them not working out. So that obviously takes a long time. Caleb is looking for a job, and obviously you know how long it takes.
Right,
Looking for a
especially
job.
when you don't apply and you just listen
Exactly.
to your motivational videos and lie on the floor and then go, then
He did try meditation in that movie.
Can
What
we?
was with his like face that he made every time?
He's like,
that,
"Grr,
like he was like,
grr."
"Come on, Venom, come out." He didn't have. It
Yeah.
was weird. Every time you heard the music,
Well, that was him trying to hold back his anger. I don't.
it was just a weird way of
Listen,
expressing
Tom
it.
Hardy makes weird.
Tom Hardy is a
choices.
weird character. Just a weird. He's a weird human character in
Okay.
real life.
There were times, I get it, he's doing a voice, right? But there were times where his voice wasn't even the voice he was supposed to be doing for this movie. Like, I think on the bike, he says some line where he's like, "Well, that was crazy, I almost died." And it just sounds completely different. Did you guys notice that?
I didn't notice it,
From
but
the
it wouldn't
rest of
surprise
the,
me at
like,
all.
San Francisco? Brooklyn accent he's trying to
I thought
do.
he was from Brooklyn. I didn't
Oh,
even
he is.
realize it was San Francisco.
No,
I forgot
no,
it was in
guys.
San Francisco.
Remember, he used to work at the Daily
Globe.
Globe.
Is that the same as the Daily Planet? Is
So-
it set in a DC
Yes, it's actually
universe?
a Superman movie.
Kryptonite.
This
Daily...
is the thing about this movie. For some reason, I was convinced they were gonna. I tricked myself into thinking they were gonna connect it to the larger, like the MCU. I was hoping Tom Holland would walk up and be like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Brock, we're friends," because Eddie Brock is apparently the people's man in this one, giving homeless
Apparently.
people money, hanging out with Mrs.
Which I feel like
Chen.
he wouldn't do in
But
other iterations.
so they would do things in the movie that would get me excited, like that. So you use that example where they're like, "Remember, you used to work for that newspaper, the Daily," and then she pop Globe, and you're like, "Why not say Daily Planet? You have the rights to that."
Yeah.
Well, Daily Bugle.
Sorry, Daily Bugle. I messed
I
it up
know what
already.
you meant.
See.
Daily Bugle, yes. So, but then at the beginning of the movie, we're seeing a space shuttle,
Exactly.
and they go,
Yeah.
"This is J. Jonah Jameson."
As soon as they showed
this
him,
is,
his son.
This is there was like, "Oh,
Was
how cool would it be
Jameson.
if it's John Jameson, his son?"
Which I was
Because in
really
the comics
hoping.
is who crashes with the spaceship. That's accurate to the
As
comics.
soon as they said
with
that,
the
I was
symbiote.
hyped.
And they were like, "It's Jameson." You're like, "Oh my gosh, it's Jameson. This is connected. They're gonna do something here." But then he immediately gets possessed by the symbiote.
It was so obvious they were gonna do that.
Right. But
Well, I thought it was.
I knew he was gonna
and it
die.
was just kind of like,
As soon as they
See,
showed,
initially I thought he
there's
died,
one still alive.
but
Yeah, but that's how, like, in the
But-
comics, he came back.
I'm saying, what if? So initially I was where you were, Nick, where I was like, oh, he died. That's annoying. But then thinking about it, because this is a comic book film, they never technically showed him die, but they did show that the symbiote leaving people would kill them after it left them. So that would make
there's
sense.
some medical
But-
attention that was given to him.
But here's my thing. I don't remember the exact alter ego of the character, but let's just say in the comics, John Jameson becomes like Wolfman or something. That's what he becomes. So what if when he was on planet Symbiote, he got infected by some wolf thing that helps him survive that, and he is now Wolf Guy?
Hey, if it's gonna bring him back,
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with it if
Because
it's gonna bring
it's
him
just
back.
sad to me to imagine J. Jonah Jameson getting the news, whether it's J.K. Simmons from the original or somebody
OG version.
else, you know. It's sad to imagine him having his son be dead in this universe. Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because his son almost marries Mary Jane, remember?
Yes, in
She leaves
Spider-Man
him-
2, Return of the Spider-Man. But yeah, so it would do things like that where you're like, oh, they're connecting. And then it's like, oh, no,
It's like,
he's,
oh, never
he's just
mind.
dead or something.
Yeah.
Riot.
So basically, whenever the symbiote merged into someone, it does. Did it choose to kill them?
Well, I think it killed them because of the life that it drained out of them.
Well, what about Annie? I mean, she had the symbiote, and I don't know.
Well,
I feel like it might be able to not drain.
And it
for
didn't
once.
have
this is-
Jameson for a
And
long
she looked
time.
great as a Venom. Just side note.
She had boobs.
Yes, she was. That was the funny, probably one of the funniest moments of the film where they just choose to go straight up. This is sexy Venom. Like,
Yeah.
like some guy
Move
had
aside,
some weird
Valzette. We got a
fantasy
new thing.
he wanted to fill out, where he was like, guys, what if it was on a girl? It's like, okay, yeah, it could be a girl symbiote. You know, that happens with the couple people throughout this movie with Riot, and then they decide, no, but her full form, like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my gosh, really?
It was really funny.
See, but I think that is the difference then between Venom. Maybe that actually shows what I've been talking about, where Venom goes on the outside of people, even though he absorbs. But
Yeah.
Riot was going into people, draining them, and then killing them because they weren't good hosts or because he wanted to move on.
And I almost feel like since he knew what he was doing, taking him to Eddie Brock, he would probably choose not to like drain a whole bunch of. I mean, don't you think he could just kind of be on her without
Yeah.
draining her of all of her energy and
Right.
needing her to have hunger and all? Like, I feel like he could have just kind of been an actual shell until he got on Eddie Brock. I don't know.
Gosh, go on.
I thought that concept was kind of weird too. The fact that it drained people, that it needed a right
It was a symbiote.
host.
I mean, symbiote.
Like
It's a
it needed
symbiote.
a perfect match though
Right.
for a host. I don't
Well,
know.
and
it
they
didn't
never
seem to make-
explained. I thought they were going to. I was making jokes about there was going to be some throwaway line like, "Cause Eddie, you're strong." They never explained why
Yeah.
Eddie was a good host. They were just
Right.
kind of like, "Hey,"
Okay.
Venom was like, "Hey, Eddie, I like you, man. You're a chip off the old block." But it's like this
It's something
guy.
about being strong. Yeah, it was
No,
really
he
weird.
said you're a loser, and then he was like, I was a loser.
I
So,
guess
like,
yeah, he could relate. To
that
it.
that,
Okay.
that relationship.
But what?
I don't know.
Because I hate to compare it to the comics again, but like he chose Spider-Man because Spider-Man was the most powerful thing it could attach to, right? He already had powers,
yeah,
and
exactly.
the symbiote just increased those powers.
Yeah.
But Eddie Brock, it's like, holy crap, this guy screwed up his life in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to be with this guy.
Yeah, because in the comics, symbiote goes from Spider-Man to Eddie Brock and then has all the powers
And gives him
gives
the
it to
powers,
him.
right?
So it's like,
and he is the motivation to kill Spider-Man because he, betrayed him. But again, we're past that point. I feel like we
Yeah.
got to just do something else with it.
yeah.
The-
It'll be interesting to see where they go after this. And if they make another one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm assuming they do because of the contract that they signed with Tom Hardy, but...
I don't want another Venom. I want Venom in Spider-Man.
I would like to see that as well.
Initially, I thought that Riot looked identical to Venom, but as they fought, I noticed they looked different.
I thought they still looked similar. It was kind of like just a CGI mess. Fight.
His face was like more defined. It was like
they were so similar.
It felt like,
and they're similar in the comics though. Like that's the thing. Like sure, some have hair, some have.
Yeah, I remember all the fans going, "Oh boy, they got Riot just right," like in the comics.
Oh, yeah, but like
no, go on.
I don't know. It's a symbiote. It's the same species,
right.
So they're gonna look the same with differences.
Carnage looks cooler.
Well, yeah. Carnage has more of a rounded face. I think
He's red.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not black.
That's what
neither was Riot. Riot was gray.
Every single one, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, it's a different color, but it's the same guy."
This one's green.
No, Riot was more he was more rocky,
chiseled.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's like the buff symbiote. Maybe Riot and Korg are friends.
Ooh.
They rock out.
Maybe.
No, here's a guy.
Now here's a guy. But I was glad that, because I feel like there were some people complaining who said we should have Carnage be the villain. Riot's a waste of time. I was actually glad that we just kind of disposed of Riot, because then we could hopefully save Carnage for a Spider-Man.
Because if Carnage was in this, he would have been disposed of.
Right.
Some easy way, and it would have been disappointing.
Right. I mean, it's because, again, I don't think you can have a sequel where it's like, and then he fights another symbiote. It's like...
Yeah.
Okay, I thought... One more thing I will say, if there's anything else you guys want to say. I didn't like how easily the symbiotes just kind of went off people.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
So, like...
With the noise?
Well, the noise was fine, but I just didn't like how often it happened. I feel like there were, like, 3 times in the movie where it was like, no, the symbiote's gone, to then 5 minutes later it'd be like, it's back on. It's okay. I like the more bonded element, which I guess...
Like in Spider-Man 3 where he, like, has to rip it off with
as the bell's going right next to him.
Or with, like, the... I guess, what was it, the pumpkin bomb.
Yeah.
And then, like, he had to, like,
all the metal pylons.
Yeah.
But I still don't get why the rocket was able to blow up Carlton Drake and not Venom. I guess because he was closer to the explosion. But then why did he say goodbye?
Well, I think
who did they think they were fooling? He's Venom. Like,
yeah, it was dumb. I think it was because he was in the rocket, so it was more contained.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were going to end it with Eddie Brock not having Venom, and maybe in the next movie being like, oh yeah, Venom's still here. Like, but yeah, it was like they weren't fooling anyone with that.
I don't know, man.
You gotta just not think about some things, or it's just gonna be like, wait a second.
So they're doing other movies like this. At least they planned. They've got like the Michael Morbius movie, right? Jared Leto's playing Michael Morbius,
right.
Which again, I hope is connected to the MCU because of what fun that would be.
I like Morbius a lot.
But so what does Morbius fight? Another vampire?
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
He's like, no,
He's a good villain for Spider-Man.
He goes to like Sesame Street and he beats up the Count and he's like,
I've
got your number.
I might pay for that movie.
And
he might fight. Maybe we'll fight Blade.
He's a Marvel character. He's on my Marvel.
I have no idea.
He could fight Dracula.
Does he have any kind of comic Morbius like of his own? I don't. The only time I know him is in Spider-Man.
These side characters need to be put. Just put them all back in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Stop taking his best villains that only work mostly as his villains and put them back in his movie. So because that's so weird. So I don't know where you go, because Venom, he's the good guy. He just had bad luck in this. Like I feel like I still feel like you can work with it. So, but what do you at this point? Do you have the symbiote slowly corrupt him and he becomes evil? Because I feel like that would defeat the whole purpose of the Venom movie you just made.
Yeah.
But he can't. He has nowhere to go. He can't if he doesn't do that, because he can't become anti-Venom, because he's basically anti-Venom now.
I mean, basically,
he is anti-Venom.
So
they should call the movie. They should call maybe the next movie Anti-Venom.
Which they can
Anti-Venom v Carnage.
Like they could make Spider-Man like. I think make Spider-Man make him more darker. I don't know. What?
English. Remember, English much.
English. What? Remember, Robin. English is the key to the...
Good grammar.
Good grammar.
I have 2 questions. The last.
I love the Venom rap by Eminem.
That is one of the greats for songs made for a movie.
That was definitely, I think, that just if you had any reserves on whether this was felt like an early 2000s film, Eminem is there to remind you. Yeah. Eminem, who's now 40 something, 50, yeah. like I still love Eminem, but there's just something so early 2000s about getting this old, like practically retired rapper to just go like, "Yo, Venom, I love it every minute."
It was great.
It's just like,
but
all right.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It's like Will Smith rapping the Men in Black. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it's like I love this, but it's like
a lot of the
should have been back.
When you get songs made for a movie, it's got a very 2000 vibe, whether it be Venom, Ninja Turtles.
Well, there's certainly a difference between a song made for a movie and then a song that just references the title. Yeah, it's like the Carnage line, right? It's like Venom, Venom. But what were you saying?
Venom. Yeah. All right, so I have 2 questions, and then I think I've said everything I needed to. The first one, what would you give Carnage? Out of 10, what would you give it?
You mean Venom?
Sorry,
Venom.
Saying
we're rating that Carnage post-credits.
We're already... No, that would be a 0. Venom as a whole...
I'd give Carnage
Venom as a whole, what would you give it?
I don't like rating 10. I like rating 5, but I won't.
I mean, we all right, 5.
I know.
In honor of the 5 bag system.
Yeah, and then
if you want to do 5,
I can do 10. Let me try.
We can do 5.
See, but the problem is, in terms of enjoyment, I would give it a 7.
That's the hard part.
But if you're looking at this as a movie, it's a freaking like a 4 or 5. Like it's just so.
That's nice.
And that's generous. There are way worse. There are worse movies.
Oh, there's much worse superhero movies. I agree. About a 4 or 5. Yeah. See, I didn't think the beginning was so slow as it was hard to get into because of what they were showing.
Part of it was we saw it in a theater that the projector wasn't working right, and so like it only got working like 20 minutes.
It was like watching it in VHS.
You and another person got up and asked them to fix it because it wasn't aligned properly and the quality looked like
a 3D movie.
Yeah, a 3D movie or an 80s VHS.
It looked like I needed glasses.
Right, 3D glasses to see Tom Hardy do his little shtick.
Yeah, I could have gotten better quality on my phone there.
He's such a character in that. Oh my goodness. Why? Yeah. I don't know. It's so...
I would say I agree with the 4 or 5 with the movie quality, 7, 8 with the enjoyment. Like it was probably 7 for enjoyment. I agree with you.
I'd say 4 for quality, 6, 7 for enjoyment.
Yeah.
Just depending on the part of the movie, man.
Right.
It really fluctuated for me.
What were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna go on another thing. So
Well, I was just gonna say, like it's very, like we said, it's very Justice League or Suicide Squad-y.
Where it's like not great, but it's
not great,
fun.
but I had a good time during it.
Yeah, it's like a weird phenomenon. You can do that
where you can objectively say, yes, that wasn't good, but did I have fun? Yes, I did.
Exactly. You can appreciate what they did, but still...
And I also think when you have a movie like this that you're so convinced is going to be bad, and you have such low expectations...
Yeah, that you almost enjoy it because of how low your expectations were.
And you can laugh at the bad parts, but then there are actually parts where you're like, oh, that Venom was kind of cool there.
Mm-hmm.
If I went into this with high expectations, I would have been disappointed.
Right.
But where we were with going into it, we were happy with it.
I will still say, am I the only one who thinks Venom still looked... he looked big, right? Which people were all wanted.
Yeah.
But he still looked a little off, like not in terms of CGI, but in terms of his proportions.
I think in some scenes he did.
Like his head looked too small.
Yeah, his head is small.
It needed to be bigger. And there were some scenes where he seemed like he was bigger than other scenes. Like he was like big in one scene.
Well, maybe the symbiote can like embiggen him to quote that.
All right. Well, what's your second question?
One more question. This one might be hard. Or it might be really easy. I don't know. Tom Hardy's Venom or Topher Grace's Venom? Which one would you decide? Which one would you say is better?
It's tough.
Topher Grace.
I just love
It's hard.
Eddie Brock.
You got like the nostalgia.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Spider-Man 3 is a better
I'm saying
movie in my opinion. But which Venom would you like?
Topher Grace did a good job as Eddie Brock. I loved his banter with Parker, his like competition, his motivation.
You want forgiveness? Get religion.
Yeah, I love that. Venom though, in the Venom movie, I think Venom was better because he was more of himself. You know, he had the voice, he had more personality. He had a line straight out of the comics.
The turd.
But you didn't get
No, yeah.
my spider sense is tingling, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, but that
No,
was
I'm
that was
talking.
No, I'm
Brock.
talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
That was Brock
in Venom.
in Venom, but not.
Yeah, Venom didn't talk in Spider-Man 3.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Venom talks. Venom has a personality, and that was shown more in this movie. So it's tough. I don't know. I don't know if I like. And see, Tom Hardy was fun as Eddie Brock.
I think
I like Topher Grace more because of the universe that he was in. It's hard to.
But I'm saying
it's hard
it's
for
Venom.
me.
I
Well, yeah, just
Universe,
Venom, then.
obviously.
Venom, I'm gonna go with Tom Hardy's Venom.
I'd probably like to. I would love to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man fight this Venom, like a big Spider. But at the same time, his also worked. Topher Grace's also worked. Despite people not liking him, he was small in that. It's hard. It's a hard question.
I would say you're talking about Eddie Brock, Nick. To me, Eddie Brock has always been based on the early comics and the cartoon, the '90s cartoon. Eddie Brock to me has always been a scumbag, and I feel like Topher Grace, while didn't necessarily have the same looks or physique of what the character is, I feel like
he was a scumbag.
He was a scumbag more,
Right.
and in this movie, like I said, Tom Hardy feels like the people's man. He's like, yes, let me help the homeless and help this store owner. Like it
In Spider-Man 3,
that
he
just-
called Spider-Man's hand in a cookie jar.
Right,
through
exactly.
deceitful methods.
Just called Spider-Man in a cookie.
right, Spider in a cookie jar, and
Yeah.
and yes, people say he's smaller, and I do have the nostalgia factor because I love the Raimi films. But I will, and this again, I think this is nostalgic. This is an interesting thing I'm trying to think about is
It's
when
hard to
I
think
saw-
of it objectively.
when I saw Spider-Man 3 as a kid in theaters, Venom legitimately scared me.
That whole
Very
scene with them in the
threatening.
construction
Yes,
part.
I thought Spider-Man was
his
going
webs.
to die, and it was terrifying, which made Harry showing up all the more triumphant. But still, I didn't get to actually objectively look at as a kid, objectively,
Yeah.
but like objectively appreciate that film until I watched it again on DVD because I knew everything was going to be okay. But Venom legitimately terrified me and was
He
like
was
an
very-
actual threat, and there was a good jump scare.
Yeah, he was
This
very scary.
Venom is
He's
not
scary.
scary.
Like I
or
said
is
before, he's not
threatening.
scary. He's threatening.
So,
yeah.
but I'm wondering if little, like 11 years ago, if 10-year-old Caleb would have been scared by this Venom. I don't know. And even
It's
if I
hard to
was,
tell.
I feel like still not as much as, because I think it always comes down to is Venom was a threat to Spider-Man in that movie, and in this one, Venom is
The hero you're rooting
it's
for.
Venom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, whether we, whatever they do, Venom will always be a foil and the anti-hero to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think like you guys said, Eddie Brock, the way Topher Grace played him, I guess the way he was portrayed in that movie,
Right.
being more scumbaggy, it was good. And I like him being a threat because he is legitimately. I mean, even when I watch it now, it's still kind of scary watching
Right.
Venom. As dumb as that may sound, he's still like you're watching. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
he's like a real threat.
And also, it's
I
still
think-
the traditional comic book version of the not
Yeah, he's got
in
a
build,
cool-
but I'm saying like the
His suit is
storyline
cool,
is
his storyline is
how he
good.
got there is
The whole Catholic
makes-
Church thing.
You're right.
I think I like the build maybe of this Venom better, but I like the way they portrayed him better in Spider-Man 3 with Topher
Yeah.
Grace. But they would have injected like this suit, kind of like this
Right.
stature, I guess.
Well,
With that suit.
well,
I don't know.
And the attitude of the suit, I think.
yeah,
Make
yeah,
it
more
Make it
Venom.
more than just the suit. I mean, they do that indirectly, like make the character of Eddie Brock more like angry and scary, but they don't show like what
Right.
he's hearing and what he's
Yeah, and I like he could talk.
He didn't.
in this.
He didn't get a lot of screen time.
right.
And he didn't get to say we are Venom. But I'm also thinking now, Venom in terms of special effects looks better in Spider-Man 3
Yes.
than he does in this movie.
Yeah, I agree with
because
that.
Raimi always uses practical effects.
Yeah.
Because that's
He
just
looked
how
really
he learned
good.
in Evil
Yeah.
Dead. He's a horror guy. He uses practical
Yeah.
effects. Whereas, Venom in this is like
CGI
you enjoy
mess.
it, but yeah, CGI mess. Oh boy, time to watch a video game fight. Like him and
Yeah.
Riot, there's no like stakes or weight. You're just like, ooh, look at the goo.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So, Topher Grace still holds our hearts, of course. But
Yeah,
With Venom.
we're not objective, and we're
it's hard for us to
we're
be.
partial to the Raimi.
I love
trilogy.
it. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
love it. So.
He's a guy. You want forgiveness? Get religion.
That's a great line.
Broxer, Edward
Oh.
Brock Jr. Well, is
Well,
it-
wraps
Nick
it
is
up.
dying
that
right
pretty
now.
much
of
wraps it
tiredness.
up.
So
That was our review of Venom.
first podcast. So
First podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. I'm
it was
Caleb.
fun.
I'm Nick,
I am Josh, and we are signing off.
and we are Venom.
And
Thanks for
we
listening.
are Venom. And there will be carnage.